What is going on, guys and girls? How doing today? It's Single Roleplay here once again, and today I'm gonna show you guys something new for my channel and for my content as a build guide creator, because for the first time in my history I'm giving you the template, a tool to create your own build guide. I had a plan for this for quite a while. I wanted to create a character that, you know, can utilize different multiple skills without the necessity to completely start new character. And so my goal was to make a kind of a universal soldier, a dual wielding character that can pretty much use any physical skill in a game, that can be used with swords. And this is how the idea was born, and this is what you see right here, which is the IMPALE Champion dual wielding sword character. Here we go. Before we go further into the video, I would like to stop for a second and thank my Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers. You guys are making a huge impact on my life and allow me to get going and continue creating content for all of you. Thank you so much. If you want to make it into the list and immortalize yourself on the internet, join Patreon to get sneak peeks and behind the scenes footage of my work. I'm always looking for feedback on my content, guys, in order to improve, so making sure you always leave comment, like or dislike. Your reaction is very important. And remember,
you, yes you, are making a difference.
it actually all started as an idea to try a Reeve and Blade Flurry. I tried a Reeve and unfortunately I didn't really like it that much, but I fell in love with the Blade Flurry and I kept playing Blade Flurry till the very end, to level 95. The coolest thing about Blade Flurry is you can also switch to Cyclone if you get bored with Blade Flurry easily, like literally one change of a jam, you just switch Blade Flurry to Cyclone and you're playing Cyclone character with the same amount of damage. So it's very, very universal, very, very powerful. You can also stick any other AoE or strike skill if you wish, for example like double strike, dual strike. You can play Cleave, you can play even Lacerate, you can also easily play Bladestorm, you can go pretty much whatever, guys. Any physical skill that is can scale with Impale can be used in this build, and this is what I really wanted to create. That was my goal. And couple of things. Also want to talk about the champion. Why champion? First of all, I know that champion is very popular, and this is for the reason. Originally I went with the gladiator because I just love gladiator, but I felt a little disappointed with how blocked worked with delirium, because all these sick explosions and shit that I couldn't see, it actually eventually like went through my block and killed me multiple times without any real reason for that. So I said like fuck it, I'm going champion anyway. It's a pretty tanky character, there is some damage, there is some damage reduction. Overall there's no block whatsoever, but there are different cool features about champion that make him very, very powerful and a fantastic choice for the reason. First of all, you don't really need accuracy because you are taunting enemies permanently, and taunted enemies can add away to your attack, so practically hit and never miss all the time, so you don't need to stack accuracy like crazy like on the gladiator. At the same time, champion can have a pretty cool feature called the adrenaline. When you fall below low life, you heal instantly like a big flask you press, and you pretty much regenerate, recover very fast. So champion is actually quite hard to kill. Another thing is the champion, why it's so good is as it's very easy to reach 100% chance to impale without pretty much any investment into impale chance whatsoever. The other characters, the other classes need to get some extra chance to impale, but character like champion, he doesn't care, he has like innate high very chance to impale. So even with the base impale support, he's pretty much capped on impale whatsoever. Another cool thing about champion is that he has higher armor and evasion other than the gladiator, so technically he is kind of a sustains damage better than the gladiator, which is also very cool because gladiator is very fast, he's way faster, can go full block, but champion is just feels tankier. He is not so fast, but he feels like he sustains the damage better than the Gladiator. So combining all these things, features and quality of life, definitely going Impale and Champion was the right choice for this template. Here we are in the pathway building, guys, and this is the exact character that I have on me right now, starting as a duelist. And I would personally take one node over here and start stacking the attack speed and accuracy over there with transition into life. Pretty much standard duelist start, getting out of the Gladiator, getting the bravery, getting the master of the arena, and then transition here down below and start taking the swift skewering, starts taking rampart, and of course blade of cunning. The first priority, as you can see, is going into the right side of the tree, because this is where you'll be taking some juicy life as well as ambidexterity, which increases a lot of your attack damage, as well as the first priority is definitely taking twin terrors. This is pretty mandatory for any dual wielding character in order to start critting and utilizing your crit chance, and of course grab thick skin for more life. After that, we're transitioning up and get some boost for your life, because the life pool will be pretty low with that. Also grab attack speed, berserking. After that, you can actually start transitioning to the left, start taking the dismembering, start taking bloodless, start taking the accuracy on the blade master, as well as increased fierce damage with swords. We're using swords, thrusting swords, or just normal swords, so any sword damage is good. After that, we'll be transitioning up to getting barbarism, more life, as well as start stretching overhead to get 45. The reason why this character is pretty tanky is he has a lot of 45 effectiveness in it, permanent 45. So overall, this is one of the reasons why this character is so cool. After about that, we can actually grab a little more juice on the Heart of the Warrior, Warrior's Blood, as well as get the juicy disemboweling here as well. Going top, this pretty much purely just life, some accuracy, attack, speed, melee fizz, and some more life over there with armor. The character uses quite a bit of armor actually, you know, Lion's Roar, all that stuff, as well as the Molten Shell, of course, which is mandatory. There's no Mortal Call, we have a decent amount of armor pool, so that's about for the leveling tree. Speaking about the Ascendancy, the first is definitely Conqueror, 100% chance to taunt and hit, reduce damage taken if you've taunted an enemy recently, as well as regeneration, as well as they deal less damage to you. The second is worth a 4, and this is where the free accuracy comes from. Enemies taunted by you take 20% increased damage, and enemies taunted by you cannot evade attacks, and basically you always hit and you always hit the enemies. The third is Master of Metal, which gives us more chance to impale, additional 2 impale hits. And the last for the Uber Lap is the first to strike, last to fall, and this is pretty much a massive attack damage boost, as well as kind of an extra flask when you fall below low life. You pretty much regenerate like 25% when this happens. So this is like an extra, oh shit situation, which is pretty cool. It doesn't mean it's like always necessary to happen, because you are pretty tanky, you might not even fall below the life, but when you get this shit, this is where the fun begins, because this is where you get the massive damage boost as well. A short note about the cluster jewels as well. I know that there are a lot of people who are stacking a shit ton of cluster jewels. I will give you guys an example of the cluster jewel that I believe can fit in the build, but honestly, I tried sticking cluster jewels over here, I tried going here, and the damage is pretty much the same as if you took like this node and this node. These are very big damage nodes, which give a lot of quality of life, a lot of damage, so pretty much it's a trade-off. I don't see the reason to use cluster jewels in this build, because they just give you the absolutely same amount of DPS as just these, generic nodes over there. There's a lot of cool melee nodes on the basic tree, so I don't see the reason to invest into cluster jewels at all. Alright guys, let's take a look at the actual skills that I have. So this is a Thrilling, Blood Rage, Dread Banner, Lightning Golem for attack speed. This is the main 6 links. This is my Blade Flurry variation that I use in my build. Blade Flurry, Impale, Brutality, Millifist, Infused Channeling, and 45 for permanent Fortify. The reason why Pulverize is here is if you want to like cheese low content, you don't care about being fortified all the time, you can actually, you know, switch Fortify, for example, to the Whirling Blades and use Pulverize for increased reserve effect. Like if you're farming some low tiers and you don't die anyway, so you just take more AoE instead of 45, that's it. You can easily put, for example, Cyclone here and switch it into Cyclone. As you can see, we can actually get like Cyclone damage here. It's pretty much pretty amazing Cyclone damage anyway. So yeah, even better, right? Even better. Okay, so yeah, it's like I said, it's a universal build that I created for you, so you can pretty much stick anything here. The following custom damage taken is Enduring Cry on a manual cast with the Molten Shell, which casts automatically with custom damage taken, high tier Molten Shell with duration to both Enduring Cry and Molten Shell. Utility is Blood and Sand with Ancestral Protect and Cooling Strike. I just pop Protector for the bosses, and Blood and Sand is permanent. I use Sand Stance for clearing and Blood Stance for bossing. In the very tough encounters, like a lot of defensive mods, more life, you know, physical damage reduction, monsters, you can go just pure Blood Stance all the time. Mobility Thrilling, Whirling Blades with Blood Magic and faster attacks. You can actually switch Blood Magic to Fortify if you wish, but this is not very reliable, in my opinion. The auras are Flesh and Stone, Maim with Pride and Enlighten, Pure Fierce. I also included the leveling Molten Strike 5 link here because I think that leveling this character with Molten Strike is ideal. Keep in mind, you will not be dealing fully physical damage with Molten Strike because it's converted to fire. That's why there's no brutality here. But for the leveling sake, I think Molten Strike is still the absolute best, you know, super high tier skill in the game, and I will not use anything else. Vulnerability is on the Gloves Corruption. I also included, as you can see, different 6 links for different skills here. As you can see, this is like any AoE melee skill, and this is pretty much Cleave, a Reeve, something like that. Also pretty good damage. Projectile melee is basically Lancing Steel and Shattering Steel. Also can try it out. They're very shitty, I don't like them, but if you wish, if you really want to do this, you can try them out as well. Okay. So, in any strike melee skill, which is the double strike, dual strike, you know, heavy strike, you can use this as well, which is pretty cool. So, there are plenty of possibilities here. Alright guys, and we came to the juiciest juice, and this is where my items are located. So this is my actual gear. This is the 400 PDPS foil. I bought it for 5 exiles. And the only reason why it's here is because it has 40 dexterity, and using foils you need to get 212 dex, and this is the biggest problem in my opinion for the melee character, because reaching this number is quite tricky. You need dexterity on the rings, you probably need dexterity on the jewels, you need dexterity on the boots probably. So reaching this number is problematical, and this foil gives me 40 dex, which is very nice. The second is Paradoxica, and this is the most expensive super high tier Val Rapier that I bought for this build. This is the most expensive weapon I've ever bought in this game. Honestly, totally worth it. The highest tier, the best Paradoxica mod you need to get on this is the chance to blind enemies on hit with over 200 DPS. Paradoxica deals double damage with attacks, that's why it's equal to some 600 PDPS foil, almost as good as that. So that's pretty insane weapon for the price, honestly guys. Do not spend your money on the foils. Just get one foil for utility and spend the other money on the Paradoxica. You don't need anything else. Now you may be questioning me, but this is like, you see, like 34 exiles. How the fuck we are supposed to get this? Can we do damage without it? Yes, you can. I played the entire game with 2 Skeever swords, and as you can see, the Skeevers still deal over 10 million DPS with this shit. So there's more than enough to deliver to all content in the game. I killed my first Cyrus on the Skeevers. I think I killed the second on the Skeevers too. And only about level 93, I generated enough currency to start buying foils. To be honest, the foil over the Skeever still does a lot more damage, but it's not that crazy. The only real craziness is the Paradoxica, so I've been saving all my money to buy myself this shit to actually do a ton of DPS. The helmet is Abyssus with Blade Flurry damage. This is a tricky thing, you know. Physical damage will be pretty shabby, but it's okay, you can deal with that. The body armor is Astral Plate with Hunter Influence, which is crit chance, and exploding enemies deal 3% of the level of their life, as physical damage. You know, couple of things about the exploded chest. Is it needed? No. Is it good? Yes. So it's kind of adds a pretty cool quality of life, and possibly the best thing about this is porcupines. When you kill the porcupine, it doesn't explode and shoot projectiles at you. It just evaporates. There's no spikes coming from the porcupines, and this is absolutely a big deal, guys. You can jump into shit, the shit explodes, there's no problems whatsoever. This is purely a quality of life, in my opinion, very good to have. Tom Fist with the vulnerability hit. This is actually the easiest and most affordable thing. Don't look at the price like 20x. This is because I found this shit on trade. This is what I wanted to get eventually, but getting just a vulnerability on hit on this is very easy. I've been buying a lot of these gloves and just corrupting, like throwing Val Orbs on that shit, and I just got it in like 20-25 attempts. Not a problem at all. It's not the super rare corruption whatsoever. Just buy Steel Skill, buy Tom Fist with 6 life, throw Val Orbs, you will get vulnerability on a hit. Easy peasy, guys. The Abyssal Jewel is the Murderous Eye Jewel for the Intimidate, of course, and this is just crit multi, life, and physical damage to swords. The boots are two-tone with intelligence because we need over 100 intelligence for infused channeling if you're playing Blade through a Cyclone. That was my problem, and I solved it with these boots. Int, life, res, movement speed cannot be frozen, mandatory. The amulet is nothing crazy, absolutely standard life, res, fuse damage to attacks, global crit. The anointment is Fatal Blade. Another good one is actually where is it? Shit, I forgot it. Sword. Think I took it, no? Horned Edge. So yeah, the next best is Horned Edge. It kind of gives you a 24% increased damage with hits and some attack speed with increased evasion, which transitions to armor with the armor reflexes. So Horned Edge or a Fatal Blade, in my opinion, are two the best enchants over there. Rings, nothing crazy. Vermilions with life resist, fizz damage to attacks and accuracy if you wish. Steel Ring with fizz damage to attacks, res life, nothing spectacular. You don't need Circle of Guilt or anything fancy in this build. You guys, if you get like Circle of Guilt rings, you'll be super squishy, just trust me on that. You will struggle with resist, just forget about that shit. You don't need that. We'll make it easier guys, easier and cheaper. The belt is one of the trickiest parts actually, because this is a new mod introduced a couple of patches ago. When they introduced the melee patch, it was 3 patches ago I think, they also introduced the enemy's physical damage reduction. So in order to fight the massive amount of physical damage taking, they introduced the reduction of physical damage on the enemies. And there are several mods that can help you reduce that physical damage reduction from your hits, and this is one of the items with the biggest amount of that. This is the Hunter Belt, and these enemies have minus to total physical damage reduction against your hit. This is very nice to have. I can totally recommend that. The flask are pretty much standard: Diamond, Life, Lion's Roar, Experimental Silver with Onslaught, Bottle Faith if you wish. to get this. This is absolutely like a headhunter of the flasks. This is a lot of damage if you can get it. Definitely get it. This is huge amount of damage on this flask. The Socketed Jewel is a Transcendent Flash, which gives us basically crit multi based on the amount of the unallocated strength points. And another one is just a generic to leech some physical damage as mana. This is how I get my mana back without any source of leech whatsoever. And the last one is the Watcher's Eye with 2 impales. Honestly, this is kind of a super endgame shit that you can get if you wish, but I just have a generic jewel on me like this one. So it's just like pure endgame min max, and if you can get it, just get it. If you don't get it, it's nothing crazy whatsoever. So that's about it, guys, for the tree, for the gear, and for the skills. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the build, and to be honest, the build overall is very flexible and a ton of fun. Cyrus 8 is no joke. Honestly, at this point, it is a very, very little DPS window, and I'm a bit of a struggling with the Cyrus right now, but Elder is not really a big issue. Conquerors, any map bosses, no issue whatsoever. Just kills easily. Cyrus like 5, 6, 7, no problem. The only real problem is Cyrus 8, which I'm a bit of a struggling at this point. And honestly, the fight is just terrible. I fucking hate it. It didn't really become harder, it just became like annoying, more annoying than before, because the invulnerability phase on this Cyrus is so high. He heals to full life on the last phase. He literally machine guns you all kind of shit without giving you any time to DPS, so it's just very annoying. And aside from that, I had absolutely no problems with this build whatsoever. The only problem when I encountered is just the Cyrus 8, where just pretty much dodgy shit happening there on the screen. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the build guide, and I really hope that you can build your own champion with my help, because this is a strong mechanics. Impale is very strong. I would not say it's overpowered, it just it's kind of a niche mechanic, just works only with the physical damage. So I don't think it needs kind of a nerf or tweaks or anything. It's just powerful for what it is. If you want to play physical, like Impale is definitely strong. If you want to play something else, like Fist to Fire conversion, Fist to Call, it's already pretty much useless. So it only works for the very niche stuff. So definitely check it out, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.